Yod. My favorite tittle. Yod. To thine own self be true and know thyself. Alright, so do I need bacteria in my gut to digest fiber? Do I actually require fiber? I don't know. You don't know. Unless you go take a certain test to figure that out. So I'm starting a playlist on here called Yogurt. Okay? So if you go into the channel and you look at playlists, there's a public playlist called Yogurt. I'm actually making that for my mother-in-law, or my stepmom, my wife, and a couple kids, right? So I'm like, well, this would help or whatever. And then, some people, they do this carnivore thing, and then their cholesterol goes way up. It's like, is that good or bad? You got your LDL levels and all this kind of stuff, whatever. But there's actually a test. There's a guy on there on the playlist. He talks about the what test you need to check for the number of particulates of cholesterol. Because you can have like a low number of them that are big, or you might have a whole bunch of them that are little. And of course, whether or not you clog up and have a heart attack and all that kind of stuff depends on your genetic makeup and the way that your body does its cholesterol thing. So, not so much type of cholesterol. Because the guy was talking about this dude had great labs and everything was cool, and a week later he died of a heart attack. You know what I mean? So like, it's carnivore, like Russian roulette. And how would you know? Well, it turns out genetic testing, like the Inuit up there in Alaska, they don't eat plants. There's no plants growing where they live. So they eat a lot of fat and animals, fat of animals. And, but their genetics are adapted to that. And then a lot of people are from different, the world's a wide variety. Some places where the genealogy, the generations, year over year, century over century, thousands of years leading up to these adaptations. Some leading towards plants, some leading towards meat. And, some people get sickle cell. Other people are like, can't digest milk. And then
there are police reported ahead.
And then there's like big pharma. And like,
there are police reported.
And the nutritional factors. Okay. So, identifying what nutrients and minerals are necessary in the right amounts for your specific use is incredible. You know what I mean? Like, I can probably get everything I need from liver, but if that's messing me up because I have giant cholesterol particulate, I may need to go with blue-green algae to get those proteins and heal my mitochondria, get the electrons bouncing back and forth, you know what I mean, and all this other kind of stuff. So my cellular energy is elevated, you know what I mean? And like, I might need to be taking creatine so my brain's more hydrated. I might need more iodine. My wife might need more iodine and more proteins, proper proteins and fats, so that her head does not hurt, and so that her brain is working better. Our kids, with all the ADDs and all this other kind of issue, the nutrition, it all comes back to the nutrition, right? Okay, and how do I know what's right for me? Well, like genetic testing. You know what I mean? And like you can test to see where your nutrients are at, get all your labs and numbers and markers, and find your deficiencies. Try to eat to fix it, appropriate to what your body is genetically made to do, based on your family history, your genetics. You know what I mean? And then understand that, it's very complicated, and you're gonna have to put some hours into this deal. You're not married to a diet. You're married to a proper health, a vitality of life until you die. Like, I want to live every day until I die. I don't know when I'm going to die. I don't know what's going to kill me. Something's going to kill me. But from now till then, I want to be able to walk around. I don't want to be so out of shape that I go on vacation and I got to ride a freaking hover around. You know what I mean? I need to be able to do certain things. SHTF, you know what I mean? All these different things. The number one tool that I need is my brain to work. And then I need to put good information into my brain. So I see all these people, and it seems like they have conflicting opinions about various topics. And I'm trying to do what's right for me and my body and my family, because that's where my responsibilities are. You know what I mean? I'm a little concerned about England and, these BlackRock taking over the world. Whatever. Okay, yeah. That's, borderline entertainment, because I can't do nothing but pray about it and, like, juice the crowd to do right and do something. I don't know what we're going to do. Let's identify the problem. What are we going to do? Well, what is the problem? What actually is the problem? Well, actually, my problem, which diet do I take, is I need to know myself first. You know what I mean? Like, I need to know my genetics. I need to know my background. Like, in America, we have so many different lineages. You know what I mean? And that's going to give us some understanding. And then, eating correctly, whatever will suit us, to where we just got enough nutrients. Like, eat to live. You know what I mean? I spice my food with the spices. I choose them specifically for health reasons. And then, if all you drink is water and coffee, black coffee, I put my peptides and my scoop of creatine in my coffee every morning. That's what I do. That's my breaking of the fast. Right?
There's a lane closure ahead.
I found some of this screaming freedom. You know what I mean? This natural energy screaming freedom. Bro, I'm off the chart. I'm off the chart, dude. Yeah. My headspace, it's too much. It's too much for me. It's the sweetest thing. It's no sugar. You know what I mean? So it doesn't break my fast. It's all clean energy and stuff. But it's green tea and coffee. And I'm a truck driver. I'm already well caffeinated. And I do sun tea to make my green tea. Which I have not done in a while. I need to do that. It's been raining. Anyways, over here in New York today, driving across over here. And, New York State's beautiful, man. If it wasn't for the government over here, this would be a great place to live. I like the Amish. They're cool. Anyways, so know thyself. Like, what, biomarkers do you have? You know what I mean? And then, like, to thy own self be true. Amazing way to judge your longevity is how much power do you have in your thighs? You know what I mean? Just stand there, just put your hands together, elbows out, squat down till your butt touches your heels. Count to 5 and stand back up. Repeat that. Until you just fall down. Until you squat down and you're trying to get up, you can't, and you fall over, right? Note the time, note the reps. There's a formula you can do with that that'll tell you how much life, how much vitality that you have. And then there's amazing things like iodine. And the recommended amount of iodine, that guy was talking, or the lady, she was talking about her and her husband were in their 40s. They went to the doctor. And the doctor's like, you're going to have to take this medicine for the rest of your life. And they're like, I don't know. We're going to go home and think about this. So the husband and wife go home, and they're like, God made us. We don't need these chemicals or whatever like that. Here's the problem the doctor pointed out. Let's adjust our eating, our exercise, and our sleep to fix this problem. So they did. They go back to the doctor. The doctor says, you need to take this medicine anyway. You're not going to be able to sustain that. Okay? So they're like, we're going to do proper eating, exercise, sleeping, and then, but you got to have that in your head first. You got to fix your head space first. You got to realize, okay, God made me. I'm fearfully and wonderfully made. Surely He can tell me how I can eat real food, exercise, and rest to obtain a healthy vitality all my days, 120 years. You know what I mean? Like, He scaled it back. He scaled it back from 7 to 900 to 120. And everybody's giving up at 35, eating chemicals from China, and just ridiculously fuckered up from, the 50s to 75-ish, when they milked every dime out of you and stole your other 50 years because you're too smart at that point to, do the labor. And I guess they're making robots to do that now, so, they're just trying to kill us all. Anyway, totally different story, different train of thought. I don't like rabbit hole. All right, can we lose the rabbit hole thing? Can we get rid of rabbit hole? Like, I'm not following Alice. I'm not Alice following this rabbit into some delusional state of weirdness when I'm taking these different train of thought. But a train of thought, this is a locomotive with momentum, and it's got a lot of baggage. And if this is a train of thought, this is not a rabbit hole. So if we can change that in the community of the church, the preppers, the kinfolk, the podcasters, the tubers, whatever, that would be great. I mean, that would be a serious step in the right direction, because that's changing headspace. You know what I mean? It starts up here. Starts up here, gets down to here, then it starts coming out of here after you got a gut full. You know what I mean? It's like you think about it, oh wow. Then you're like, man, it's just like the salvation process. I'm going to hell if I don't change. You know what I mean? What? Eek. Those are all emotions. That's on my heart. Now I realize Jesus died for me. I was writing to a guy last night, and I was talking about when I found out that Jesus died for me. Like when it clicked, clicked. And it was about the time they made that movie Pitch Black with Vin Diesel, way back in the day. I think it was like his first movie or whatever. Anyway, in that movie, there's these, aliens of darkness or whatever, these creatures from the dark who was snatching people and eating them or whatever. And then you had to keep the light on. You know what I mean? And then here this dude is. He's like a prisoner, convict kind of guy. But he can see in the dark because he has the ability to see in the dark, right? Anyways, at one point through this whole shenanigans, like he's looking after these people. He doesn't really want to, but he kind of is. It's like a survival situation. Anyway, this lady ends up getting snatched But she had said something about, like, what if he had to die for us, or I'd die for them, or whatever, earlier in the movie. And then this one scene, the creature grabs her and is pulling him away, and he's pulling her away from him, and he sees her getting snatched into the darkness by this, evil creature. And he's like, yeah, but don't die for me. You know what I mean? And he's just like emotionally like, I understand you died for them, but don't die for me. You know what I mean? And then I had this big emotional thing when Jesus died for me. And when that movie came out, my son was alive, and later in prison, it hit me. Jesus dies for me. And then I felt the heart of the father losing a son because I had lost my son. You know what I mean? So this is intense. Right? So, you know what I mean? Not for me. You know what I mean? I'm nobody. You know what I mean? Anyways. See, it's a powerful scene in the movie. Just put yourself in the role of the guy, and that chick's Jesus. You know what I mean? Anyways, very powerful, very powerful. And the talk, by the way, was about the pronunciation of the name of God. And, potato versus are you trying to seek it out of respect? You know what I mean? And the guy's like, hey, what do you think about this or whatever? So, I just thug your thumbs, this deal. And I'm just like, man, yeah, that's what it was like for me. So I'm like seeking God's name, and I just keep finding attributes. Just like you can call me roofer, you can call me trucker, you can call me, American, whatever, convict, asshole, whatever. I mean, like, I got a lot of attributes, right? Jerk. Excuse me, I'm supposed to stop cussing. So, I'm looking at this stuff and I want my family to be healthy, man. Like I'm sick of everybody dying. You gotta stop the dying. Well, the internals of my body adjusted to the proper diet, exercise, rest will come from my brain space being like, who am I? You know what I mean? Instead of pretending. Instead of being delusional, you know what I mean? Instead of just jumping on the bandwagon, they just, because I see these guys, man, they're like, the modified carnivore diet. And it's like previously the carnivore doctor. And he was a vegan back in the day. And I'm just like, okay, so this is Dr. Thaddeus. You know what I mean? Thaddeus of the wagon, the coattail riders. Coattail riders! Bound up. It was a good type of fad. We're eating some beans. You know what I mean? Or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, just ridiculous. So I'm just like, no, that I need to know. And I need to know that what I know is accurate. I'm tired of dying. Oh, Lord help us all. God bless this mess. David, Jesus. Help. 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 Please have mercy. And give us what we need. So, the playlist is yogurt. None of it is me making videos. This is me gleaning the internet for goodness and posting stuff. Okay, so just think of me more like the yellow pages, you know what I mean, and not just like an old sheet, or like a old crusty man. These are my ideas that you might like. It's not that like the yellow pages for like information and stuff. I just got this picture of like a really old book. It's like, been left out in the rain a couple times. Anyways, I did work out for 45 minutes in the rain, by the way, and it is good. And where I had to stop did not have a shower. So, yeah, I worked out in the rain and got wet instead. So, that's great. You know, the Lord will provide. Anyways, man, I didn't get my setup. It's so beautiful out here. Everything's so green. The trees are awesome. There's some sumac growing. And, yeah, great place for guerrilla gardening. And I need to plant some trees over here. I do not have any trees on 86 in New York State. I'm coming out of Syracuse, heading over to almost Boston. And there's like one way that I can go. It's little roads. Pretty sure I ain't supposed to have this truck on them roads. The other way's a toll. Pretty sure the boss hates tolls. The other way's like sneak all the way around through Connecticut. Every road in Connecticut is a toll. So we're just going to run straight at it. And they knew it was Massachusetts when they booked it, I guess, right? So I'm doing the best I can. Got the cheap fuel while I could. So we're topped off. We're going to get in here, deliver the load, see what the backhaul is. Hopefully get to, you know, get loaded, get parked, and schedule, you know, allow for no working on the Sabbath. That would be great. But, you know, I mean, if he calls me to duty, then I'm going to go duty. Oh. I will uphold my post and do my duty. Man, why does it always come to fart jokes and poop, man? My buddy, he says that to me all the time. Oh, Potter, I can't say what he says. But he's like, every time I talk to you, man, it's always, you know, making fart jokes. Anyways. So, you know, the other thing I noticed was I was reading one of these new little Bibles. I went back and read, and there has been a Mandela effect because I read, and it's just one of the deals where you just know. And then I went back and read, and there's two accounts in the book of Acts. There's when it goes down and Jesus is there, and then later Paul is explaining that to somebody else. I think it's like 7 and 9. First time it talks about it in Acts chapter 7, and then again in Acts chapter 9 or something like that. It's there in the book of Acts, but it's Paul giving an account of what happened when he met Jesus, got his eyes covered up. And then when I'm reading that, I don't know if the translation has changed or what. But it used to say that he went and studied for, or I'm just wrong, which is probably, you know, that's a strong possibility. But then he get healed at a guy's house. He went to a guy's house. Another guy showed up, said, "What must I do to be saved?" And this dude's like, "Repent of your sins and be baptized." You know what I mean? And now it says that he was like fasting for 3 days. Doesn't say.
In 2 miles, use the left 2 lanes to take exit 72A for I-81 north toward I-88, Syracuse.
And now Ananias goes over there and shows up and says, "Hey," you know what I mean? You know, heals his eyes and all that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? So it's still the same gist of the story, but the nuance has changed so much. And one of the Bibles I have with me is the same Bible I had before. So that's creepy. That's real creepy to me. And, yeah, that's very creepy that it said something before a certain way, and then now it says it a different way. So, like I said, could be the Mandela effect. It's definitely the Mandela effect, that concept. That's definitely what I experienced. But I've never experienced that with the Word of God before. So now I have to go back and try to find the Greek. So that's my next big adventure, is the road to Emmaus. Actually, no, that ain't it either. I think the road to Emmaus was a different one. But when Jesus showed up,
After 3/4 of a mile, keep left to take the exit.
that's the
In half a mile, use the left 2 lanes to take exit 72A for I-81 north toward I-88, Syracuse.
yeah. So that's what we're doing. I really
After
wish
1/4 of a mile,
that
keep left
I
to
could
continue
be
onto the
filming
Interstate 81
all
north
these
towards
beautiful
Syracuse.
trees. It is absolutely beautiful. Unless you've been here,
Use the
nobody
left
in
2
world-
lanes to take exit 72A.
Nobody in the world here's.
Now keep left to take the exit.
Continue on I-
After 2.5 miles, keep right.
Nobody in the world would understand that New York is a mountainous forest. You know what I mean? Like, the actual scenery around here is like what would pop in your head if you said Germany. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, all the way with like Amish people and everything, like the German heritage, and the whole 9 yards. Anyways, so I'm sure you heard, I got the 2 ladies.
In 2 miles, use the right 2 lanes to take the I-88 east exit toward Albany.
Yes, ma'am. Here the other lady, she'll say something too, right? I think there's a guy on there now too. There's a new app for truck routes. So they're all telling me what to do now. So between the 3 of them, maybe, just maybe, we'll get over it. And the funny part is like, I can just set Google Maps and accept tolls, and it gives me the exact same path for free. You know what I mean? So there's really no need in paying for all the trucking stuff. All right, I hope this has been helpful. Raquel, go get them.